Hi Uday, good evening. Thank you for joining in today. How are you doing?
So I'm doing good.
Great. Uday, where are you? Are you in Calcutta? Are you in Pune? I saw in your resume that you are originally from Calcutta, but you are working in Pune. So where are you right now?
So presently I'm in Calcutta. I was working with Infosys,
Okay.
but presently just 2 days prior to it, I have joined Intelligent Technologies,
Which company
which
you
is a data
said?
analytics based
Which company did you?
Intelligent Technologies.
Okay, and where is it
Intelligent.
based out of?
So Pune only.
In Pune only. And what's going to be your role? Because in your resume it wasn't mentioned. So can you explain the role there?
So I've just joined prior 2 days, so I haven't start. I'm just doing upcoming with the assignments.
Hmm.
Fortunately, it's based on SQL only. So
Okay.
in the past 2 days, I have solved approximately 50, 60 questions, and
Okay.
more 100 I need to solve. So it's actually a data analytics based company, and my profile is associate software engineer in platform implementation in BI analytics.
Okay. Interesting. Sounds interesting. So, do you know what kind of tools and what kind of things you would end up using?
According to as per the profile and the induction PPT that I have received, I think I'll be working on SQL databases, PLSQL, triggers, procedures, Tableau, Informatica, Panda, some Panda. So I don't know the exact name of that software.
Okay.
Panda Hawk, and Hadoop and all. As I proceed further, whatever the requirements
Okay.
would be
Because
there,
sounds like
they would.
sounds like a lot of tools and a lot of things. Okay. No worries. So, Uday, I saw in your resume that you've done a lot of SQL as well. You put four dots across SQL, and in this particular job role that we are hiring. SQL is one of the key skills. So I hope you will not mind me asking a few questions in databases and in SQL. Yeah, Uday?
No, no, definitely not. Sir. The rating myself is totally a relative thing, right? As
Okay.
per my domain knowledge, I've rated. If I
Okay.
relatively consider your level, definitely I'm nowhere. So relatively,
Well,
I've put
that's fine. Great. Thank you.
in Infosys also I've been doing with SQL. So that's why I was confident enough to put 4 dots. Don't take me wrong, sir. 4 out of 5 is
No,
a
that's
quite
fine.
high
That's
number.
fine. That's fine. That's fine. I just would want to share your resume with you. So you put four dots here against SQL, and you've done for Excel, data analysis, C++. So I was just going through your resume, and then I found it to be the most important skill that we're also hiring. So tell me, what do you know about relational databases? What is the meaning of relational database? Let's start from that. From there.
Relational, so actually, in the layman terms, if I want to explain, sir, every organization faces the task of data. They need to store somewhere, right? And only one table does not can define the whole purpose of storing data. Like
Okay.
if I take a scenario of an employee in an organization, only like an employees is if I make an employees table, it is related with many things, with which in which department it's working, what is their job, what is their job ID, what under which manager it's working, then what the location. A company has branches over the entire world, and MNC has its branches over the entire world, right? So
So
managing every.
let me interrupt you here. Give me an example where you would say that yes, you did something and it became relational database, and why did you have to do that?
Sir, yesterday only, I was assigned a schema for movies. So,
Okay,
so movie schema, sir, when first thing comes, only the movie name, but a database with movie name, with a director and all, but one director can direct many movies, and one actor can act in many movies. So there comes the concept of redundancy. So each table needs to be related with some table, right?
okay.
As a primary key foreign key relationship. So this schema design helps us
What
telling
if
that.
we had only one table to manage all this information? What would happen?
So data redundancy then update, okay, I'm just
So
telling
what
you.
is the issue with data redundancy? Let me
So
ask you.
I'm explaining you, like an actor is residing on a place, right? In Mumbai, supposedly he's residing in Bandra. Once he has decided to shift his location and shift to Borivali. So if I want to update this address field, so I have to update in whatever columns of this actor ID is there, and I have to do hundreds of time or millions of time in a, if I or realize in a MNC based scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And changing of address, location, mobile number, it's a very common thing these days. So what we do is just to reduce this the doing over and over again, or the repetitive task, and it's not proper also, right? If someone is a company
No,
is
so
paying.
because of repetitive tasks, my question is what issue do we face? Because of this redundancy, what issue we end up facing?
So we are not able to update all fields,
Okay.
and uh, uh, our time gets more, our resources gets more, which basically the company has to bear as working time hours and revenue, which
Okay.
is not what is desired from a good company.
Okay. What is normalization?
So normalization is the removal of redundancy from a table. Like
Okay.
a table, like in this scenario only, what I would do is that if uh, like address if one actor or one employee has multiple addresses, what I
Mm-hmm.
would do is that I'll just pick up this that unique number which identifies the actor uniquely, and the rest of the tables, like the address is dependent on that field, right? I'll take up another table, and their address fields will be stored, or mobile number which is related to that thing. Like, and we have various forms of normalization: 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, and BCNF.
Okay.
So
So what is 3NF? Why do we need
the
it?
3NF is removing the transitive data dependency, transitive redundancy. Like if A depends on B, and A is
Uh-huh.
my primary key, and then B depends on C. So these two things I can easily relate. A depends on C, right? So the removing this B depends on C is the transitive data dependency which I'm facing in the table.
All right. Sorry about that. So tell me, in terms of when we say that design is a good database design, then what is the meaning of a good database design? What
So
is it? What are the parameters to say that a database design is a good design?
okay. So firstly, we would see that uh, there are what I would say. The there should not be in a single database. There should not be so composite fields, which are composite, no, not like composite fields in one database only, like address as one. So street number, city, code, these should be all be segregated, so that for the ease of it, not address as a whole column is quite suitable. First of all,
Okay,
I
so you're saying the most important thing is
no,
that
no,
the
not the
column.
most, not the most important.
Okay,
It is one of the criteria.
but what is the
So,
most important thing that we see in a good database design?
so relation like normalization should be reduced as far as well. Normalization should be there as far as
Okay,
possible.
so normalization should be there so that there is lesser
Data.
redundancy. What challenges do we face while working with large database in? So tell me in general, what challenges do you face
Like
or have you faced?
what I have faced is that firstly that some tables are not they have the problem of this data wrangling. What we have to do, like I found some of the entries there that were not properly there. Like I'm telling that the year,
So
the date column.
maybe I will take one step back here. Have you faced any issue while importing the large database?
Yes, sir. I faced like it was fortunately you have instructed us like whenever we have many number of rows, we should not take the data import wizard from MySQL. We should always go by command prompt technique. If we take the table import wizard, it would, I don't know, it will take how many hours, and it's beyond. It's not the normal protocol. So what we do is that we,
So what kind of challenges you normally have faced while importing large amount of data into a database?
so actually, when we import large amount of data, what we face is that if we from my in MySQL only, I was working in MySQL. So when we are trying to import data from the table import wizard, it takes a very large amount of time. Like if I'm importing only 2000 rows only, it would take me 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
So there comes this technique of going into the command prompt and extracting our location from where MySQL is there, and then loading it.
So you work with MySQL
Yeah, yes,
mainly.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So again, tell me. So you are saying that you go into the command prompt.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In command prompt, we go and firstly we have to create a table in the MySQL only, so that the from where we are importing the data, it has the clear design of the data, and only rows consequent to it will be loaded. So first we would go there, and there are commands like in Ubuntu, commands are like that: MySQL -u root -p. So MySQL window will open, and we have to give the password and all.
So what is the other way of importing the data other than using command line prompt in MySQL?
So that in tables we can go with the table import wizard.
Okay. And you're
And
saying why did you use that option versus the command line prompt while importing large data?
so it will take very large amount of time, very large amount of time. Importing nearly approximately 2 lakh rows would, I don't know, will take approximately 20 hours.
So tell me, why do you think that command line prompt takes significantly lesser time while importing the data versus that wizard that you're talking about from within MySQL?
So, because I think it's directly linked with, we are working directly with the uh, admin, like a admin interface. Like
Okay.
whenever we also, whenever we want to format our data also, format our computer also, what we do is that we face a similar scenario and we work with boot boot menu, and
Mhm.
so we are interacting with the UI, which is actually based on the whatever I would like to say, in very computer computer friendly terms, or
Okay. All
exactly
right.
I
I think what
don't
you're
know,
trying
but
to say is
whenever,
that
like in
you
Ubuntu,
want
whatever I have to do, I have to do in terminal.
in Ubuntu, so mainly you work with Ubuntu, right? You installed everything, hosted everything
Yes,
in
sir.
Ubuntu. Okay, great. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
so after importing the data, right? Do you recommend or do you see yourself doing a few types of transformation more frequently? Like what kind of transformation do you do with the data? So once you
Yeah,
imported the data into the database, now what kind
yes.
of transformation do you do? Let's
Mhm.
say you imported the data. I'm assuming you will
Sure,
import the data from a CSV file or a text file. And then
Mhm.
after
Yes,
importing the data
yes.
into MySQL, what kind of transformation you normally do? Or what kind of challenges you normally face?
So firstly, the challenge which we face is the date column. Every time the date is, many a times it is text. First we need to convert that date into the required format which the SQL server understands,
Okay.
from str to date function. Then
So are you talking
sometimes
about
we have
SQL Server or are you talking about
uh,
MySQL database? Which one are you talking about? Okay.
MySQL, sorry,
Okay.
MySQL.
Okay.
Then we have to convert it the date. Then sometimes we also
And which
face
function did
challenges
you
like
say
I
you
was
used to
facing you, like
convert? I'm sorry. Which function did you say that you used
in
to
which
convert? Which function did you say that you used to
uh,
convert the date from text to date?
str underscore to underscore date,
Okay, string to date.
and
Okay.
then the column name,
Mhm.
string to.
Okay.
This function we used to convert from string to date. Then
Any other issue
sometimes
that you
it's
normally
like that.
face?
Uh,
Any other issue that you normally face after importing the data or while importing the data?
so some I haven't faced like, one issue I faced like that. ID ID was ID and cost. Yeah, cost was not in the Swiggy data set of the Swiggy, but another data set I faced. Like the cost was given as text. So whenever I was adding the value, adding cost into 0.15 to get the 15% of it, I was not.
What did you do with that column after importing the data?
I changed the data type there.
Okay. How did you, which function did you use to change the data type?
Modify.
Okay. So you use the alter statement with modify.
Yes, sir. Alter with modify.
Acha, ठीक है. Okay. Um, okay. How do you treat null values which are there in the CSV files? Any special precaution that you do for the null values?
So yeah, I faced that when I was working with another data set. Somewhere it's written that if nothing is given there, what it does is that it won't take that whole record only. If
Okay.
nothing is stated there, if the cell is blank, it would not take anything. So what we need to do is that firstly in the data set, we need to give some values, junk values, and after that we need to check. Like if there are junk values like which are outliers or something like that, we need to alter, update it and set it to null. Like what I did is that in Excel I converted a file to Excel, and then I did conditional formatting, and I found out those rows. And what I did is that in if and else conditional formatting, I did was that I
So
specific.
before importing the data, only you treated it, is it?
No, sir.
Or not?
Because there was nothing. There was
Okay.
blank values. So I
Okay.
knew that if there are totally blank cell, it won't import it. So
Okay.
what I did was that I gave a condition where it is blank. I gave that transformed that cell to text null, like text
Mm-hmm.
null, and then when my data was imported, I updated that, like update
Okay.
table, set that column to equal to null, where that column is text null. Like I could explain you, like update
Understood.
table,
See,
like supposedly
understood.
my
Understood.
table name. Okay.
Understood. Let's move on. Let's move on. Good. So I want to understand some other questions about. So you must have written a lot of SQL queries, it seems, right?
I hope so.
Give me some examples as to why do you think SQL becomes probably more useful than probably doing this kind of reporting in Excel.
Excel, sir, I haven't used Excel that much, but sir, what I feel is that Excel, this SQL is very user friendly, sir. When we write select a column name from a table where this, so a layman or even my sister who is 10 years old, I could
Mm-hmm.
explain it to her also, and she could also learn it. But
Okay.
in Excel, what we have to learn is that we have to, like if we want to do conditionally what we need, then we have to apply filters from data. Then we have to extract the rows, and then accordingly we have to do that. So
Yeah.
basically we are dealing with a chunk, and then we have to apply data filtering, and after that we would be seeing. And SQL also gives what exactly we require. Like we require only two columns. Just we write two column names from a table where these are conditions. Instead, if I want to write something, I would write if else in
Mm-hmm.
the command formula bar. In
Mm-hmm.
the formula bar of Excel, I need to write if else and those things.
Okay.
But Excel also comes handy with some of the things, like functions are already predefined there, like standard deviation, normal
Okay.
distribution are predefined there. But as far as I know, I haven't worked with normal distribution in Excel, so I don't know.
So tell me,
Graphically plotting,
Do you think SQL is a tool or a language? What is it?
SQL is a structured query language. It's
Okay.
not a tool.
Okay.
It's a language. What we say.
All right. And tell me, have you used SQL outside of a database, like in any other reporting tool or any other place where you've used SQL, but not within the database?
So I've used in R and Python, like
Okay. What did you do
the
with SQL in R and Python?
sir. Actually, I couldn't remember those codes of Python sometimes. Like I need to group
I
by.
know I'm not interested in
No,
the
no,
codes
uh,
actually.
no, no. Actually, what why I was using that? I need to import the data.
Okay.
Import the data. I
Mhm.
imported from pandas, no issues.
Okay.
But after, like I have had to remember very codes like group by df dot pand,
Okay.
then data frames pandas. So sometimes it was like difficult. So what I did is that I imported a SQL package only and
Hmm.
connected through a database, and I
Okay.
simply wrote SQL queries there, which
Okay.
made my task easier. And after that, I was very easy to plot the data.
All right, very good. I think yeah, that's why we use it in other tools as well. So I'm sure then you have used uh, you have done some join queries as well in SQL.
Yes, yeah, I do.
So can you explain me what is Cartesian product?
Okay. So Cartesian product is actually that if we have two tables, supposedly employee and departments.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, I would like to tell the features. Like if a customer table has 5 rows and department tables have 10 rows, then the Cartesian product would give me 5 into 10, which is 50 rows. This
Okay.
is the first thing. So 5 rows, I would consider employee
No, but
number.
tell me, I'm just going to try to take a step back. Why do we need to do Cartesian product?
Cartesian product. I don't think it's very important. Like I haven't used a single
No, but
SQL query
isn't
where I
Cartesian product,
extracted Cartesian product.
but isn't Cartesian product same as joining?
Join.
Joining two
No, sir.
tables is same as.
Cartesian product gives me all the rows of. So joining, if I'm joining, there must be a condition on which it is joined, right?
Okay, so you think,
And in
so you're
Cartesian
saying
product,
that.
every.
So let me put a scenario. Do you think we cannot join two tables which do not have a common column? Can we join two
Which don't
tables which do not have common columns?
have. What's the use? Like I want to know the use, the business scenario. Why then we are joining two tables? If we like common columns, like their names would be different, but there might be something that links between the two of them, right? Unnecessarily, why we are joining two tables? There must be a link.
Let me share my screen and let me give you a scenario and tell me if it makes sense to you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's say we have a table called a student and we have a table called as test subjects,
Okay.
right? Suppose there are these students, right?
Hmm.
And there are subject ID, uh, subject name, and so on and so forth. Suppose this is one table and this is second. This is one table and the test subject is one table. Now, suppose this table had two students only,
So
right?
I'm getting your point. I'm getting your
This
point.
table had five subjects, and what I want to see is ultimately,
All the students' data with every subject mapped to it.
yeah. Say for example, I want to create a report whereby I see each what are the subjects that each student is supposed to take the test for in order to be certified, right? And let's say each one of these students is supposed to take all the subjects which are here. Suppose there are five subjects here, one, two, three,
Hmm.
four, five. Suppose this is SAS, this is Python, this is statistics, this is Excel, and this is SQL. And each one of these students, suppose whatever students S1, A, S2, B, each one of them is supposed to take all these subjects. And I want to see one report whereby I can say that what are the subjects that each student is supposed to take the test for, and I want to see that one report. So how would we do that?
Okay, sir, I would like to interrupt the question, sir. Sir, we are having these two tables definitely for a purpose, right? To see their marks or see the performance, right? Nowhere it's stated that these two tables have a link. So we need a third table, like from subject ID, which has subject ID, an ID of the student, and the marks related to it, which
But
can.
I'm saying that each student is supposed to take all these five subjects.
Hmm, so where we'll store the marks for A also and
I'm
for
not
B
bothered
also.
about the marks right now.
Okay. If every student needs to take all the things, then A is mapped with SAS, Python, Stats, Excel, SQL. S2 is also mapped with SAS, Python, Stats,
Mm-hmm,
Excel, and
mm-hmm,
SQL.
mm-hmm. So what
But
is that SQL
uh,
operation would we do in
this
order
is
to get that?
Cartesian product. This is Cartesian product. Exactly, this is Cartesian product.
Okay.
But
And is this different from joining?
uh, yes, sir, this is different from joining as per my.
Okay, take no problem. Let me ask another question then to you. Uh, what do we mean by inner join?
Inner join are the common. Like I take a scenario and explain you. No
Sure,
issues.
sure. Please, please, please.
There are two columns, two tables: employees and departments. Employees has columns like employee ID, department ID, name, address, name, phone number, and department table also has columns like department ID, department name, manager ID. So if I want like to give a summary to my manager, like give me the reports, uh, rows who work in department, who work uh, the department name, who work in
Hmm.
department number 5, all the
Okay.
employees. So
Hmm.
what I need to do in the department table, I don't have the employee details, right? And in the employee table I don't have the department names. So now I need the help of these two tables.
Okay.
So how we can figure out is that in the employee table I have a column named department ID,
Hmm.
and in department table I have a column named department ID also. So
Okay.
these are the common columns.
Okay.
We join them, and whatever it has like in suppose X employee department ID is 105, and 105 is also a row, an entry in the department table. So these two values match, and we can easily extract out. So if in a Venn diagram, what we see is that A and B, so whatever the intersection comes, that is the result shown in the inner join.
Okay. Okay. So what is the difference between inner join and equi join?
Inner join and equi join.
Hmm.
I think equi join is a full outer join.
Okay. All right. No worries. Tell me, give me a second. Okay. I'm just going to share my screen and I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a scenario and a little more practical scenario, and then we'll have a little bit more discussion on joins. I want to understand what it is because for our purpose, we do a lot of joining kind of queries. Okay. So I'm just sharing my Excel screen. You can see it, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, consider a bank, right?
Hmm.
And in the bank's database, we have four tables.
Hmm.
Loan table, which contains the customers who have taken loan from the bank.
Hmm.
We have a table called as default or fraud customers. Let's call it as fraud customers, which contains the list of those customers who have committed some kind of fraud.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have a table called as FD table, the list of customers who have made FD in the bank.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have a customer master table. Let's
Hmm.
call it as a customer master table.
Hmm.
Got it?
Hmm.
Now I want to understand. Suppose the banks wants to understand that they want to categorize these. They want to identify from this master customer table. They want to identify the customers who are low risk, customers
Okay.
who are medium risk, and customers who are high risk. Suppose I'm a
Okay.
credit officer and I want to classify my customers into these three different categories. So what
Hmm.
approach would I follow? These are my four tables that I have in front of you.
Okay. So then I'd start from high risk customers.
Okay.
So what I would do is that in the fraud table, or the high risk, what I want to say is that loan, people who have only taken loan are the highest risk of customers.
Okay.
So and this fraud table, could you shed some light on this fraud customers? Like
So fraud customer it contains the list of those customers and the customer IDs who have committed some kind of fraud. So we've got this list of customers from our fraud detection team.
okay, okay, no issues. So then the highest risk is that we would extract out the customer ID from fraud customers, and
Okay.
then we would display from the customer table their details
So you're saying you will take the customer ID from
from.
fraud customers and
Hmm.
you'll try and match the customer IDs in the customer master table. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we could do
So
that
and
for the.
how would you do that? What operation would you do in SQL to do that?
Sir, like I would write that select customer
No, I
ID.
mean you don't have to tell me the query, but what operation? Just explain.
Sir, if we can use inner join also.
Okay, so you'll find intersection between them using either in or
Intersection.
using inner join on the
Yes.
basis of that customer ID column,
Yes.
and that's the highest risk customer.
Yes.
Customers who are there in the fraud list, right? Fraud customers table.
Hmm.
Okay. How about the medium risk customer then?
Medium risk, actually we would find out that people who had who had done fixed deposit also, and they have taken loan also, right? They
Okay.
comes under medium risk, because
Okay.
the lowest risk is that people who has only done fixed deposit, they haven't taken any loan from me,
So
so
if
they
I
are
were to
not.
draw Venn diagrams, just for our purpose, understanding purpose, this is fraud customer list.
Hmm.
This is our customer master table.
Hmm.
And let's say this is our table of customers who have taken loan.
Hmm.
And let's say this is our customers who have done deposits, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
these are the four tables.
Okay.
Okay. Just for our understanding so that we can have better discussion.
Okay,
So
sir.
tell me, which one will be part of what?
Okay. So the customers who has, sir, I need to label some things like
Okay.
in the label part, sir. This loan, this
Uh,
FD and customer tables intersection is there, right?
yeah, FD and customer table
This
intersection.
small area between L and M. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is my least risk customers, because they haven't taken loan. They have
So
only done fixed deposits.
these are least risk customers.
Yes, sir.
Is
Least
that
risk.
what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
then the area between fraud and customer master, which is solely at the middle of L.
Middle of L.
L
Fraud
column,
and
customer
customer
master.
master.
This area. This is my
Okay.
highest risk customers.
Highest risk. Okay.
Now my medium risk customer is that who has taken both loan and done fixed deposit.
Loan and done fixed deposit.
Yes, sir. So this is the slight region. Yes, sir. But not this of fraud ones, because
Yeah.
already we are eliminating fraud ones.
The fraud ones I'm not even encountering. This is your medium risk.
Sir, one more thing. So this below one
Uh-huh.
also comes under fraud. So they are also our highest risk. So below just fraud ones, the small area, sir.
Like this one. Is that one you're talking about?
So I couldn't see your pointer, sir.
This one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This also comes under fraud. Means highest risk.
No.
And they are in fact the very high risk, because they have taken loan and they come under fraud also.
Okay. I see. I see. All right. Okay. How about these customers? Who are them? I will just quickly highlight them with this color. Who are these customers? How would you categorize them?
So these customers they have only taken loan. They have not done
Yeah.
even fixed deposit. So uh,
Yeah.
I want to categorize means in high risk, uh, a slightly less risk than the fraud ones.
So
Slightly less.
second highest risk.
Yes, second highest risk. Because they have only taken loan. They have not done fixed deposits.
Okay. Now, let's say if I want to find out only these customers, the second highest risky
Hmm.
customers, can you explain me the query? You can take a couple of,
Hmm.
a few moments here to think about this query. But what will be this query like?
Hmm.
This second highest risky customers.
Yes, sir. I'll just figure out one second. Okay, sir. Sir, my query would go like, I'm starting from the innermost query. Okay, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, firstly, I will extract all the IDs from loan.
Okay.
Select ID from loan.
Okay.
Then I'll write select ID from fraud. Sorry. Second ID from FD, which are not in loan table. So
Okay.
my query would go like select ID from loan where ID not in
Fraud.
select ID
From FD.
from loan.
No, you're
Select.
selecting IDs from from FD table, or you're selecting IDs from the loan table?
Sir, should I write the query and show you the my screen means copy?
Okay.
It would be much easier.
So write it in block letter so that I can see it. My eyes are weak.
Okay, no problem.
Or maybe you can explain it to me, Uday.
Sir, like I'm selecting firstly the loan, then I'm selecting those IDs which are not in FD. So
Okay.
I'm getting the area, this
Uh-huh.
area.
I
Like
understood. You're getting this area.
uh, then
Uh-huh.
what I'm doing is then select then from that area I'm again selecting those ID which are not in fraud also. So I'm getting this area.
Got it. You're getting this area.
Uh, So now I'm selecting the ID from customer table, which are in this.
Okay.
So I'm getting that.
So why don't we do the reverse? Get the customer IDs which are there in the loan customer and customer master table, and then
Mhm.
don't get the IDs which are there in FD table and fraud table.
Mhm.
All the loan customers which are there in the customer master table, and then don't take the customers who are there in the fraud table or the FD table. That will give you the same thing. Okay, so tell me, are we going to find? So what are the kind of SQL operation that we're using? So one, you said yes, we will use inner join. What else will we use with that?
So I am actually using all the independent subqueries. Like I find it much easier.
Acha, so instead of using
Independent subquery.
inner joins, then you want to use what? Independent subqueries like what? How?
Uh, so
Using,
select ID from FD where ID not in,
okay, so you're using not in for
not in,
difference.
not
Which
in,
one?
and
Which
in.
one do you think is faster for finding intersection? Is it in or is it inner join?
So I think inner join I think is much faster, sir.
Okay. So yeah, so that's what I would suggest. Where you think you can use inner join, you should try and go ahead and use inner join
So
instead of
actually,
in.
building logic in inner sub independent subquery, I find much easier. Like it's very clear. Like I'm going in the hierarchy,
Okay.
not here, not here, not here, and here.
Let me ask another question from the same data set. Print the list of all customers, including the customers who have taken loan and the amount of loan they have taken. What kind of a join is this?
All customers, including customers who have taken loan, including the amount of loans. Okay.
So it's like this. If I were to draw another Venn diagram here, so it is like this. This is loan and this is customer master. This is customer master
So this is a
and this
left
is
join.
print all the customers, including the customers who have taken loan and the amount of loan they have taken.
So this is if I'm considering customer master table at my as my right table, then it's the right outer join.
This is right outer join, you're saying.
Uh,
What is the difference between right outer join and outer join? Or right outer join or right and right join?
so both are same.
Both are same. And how do you do right outer join in whatever SQL query that you know?
Sure, I write select the column names from uh, a table like a loan, right join customer table where the where on sorry on not where on the common thing like I am facing this common column as ID. So
Okay,
where loan.id is equal to customer.id.
got it. All right, I'm going to show a couple of more questions on my screen, okay?
Okay, sir.
Tell me what approach you would follow to do these questions, okay?
Okay.
So give me a second and let me know if you can see those questions the moment you can see them. Can you see the screen? Let me share it again. What do you see on the screen? All right, Uday. So can you see this question on the screen now?
Okay,
Problem
sir.
number one, find the second highest salary.
Okay, sir.
All right, so there is a table here which is called as implicit table, and this has two columns in it, ID and salary. Okay, what I wanted to do is that I wanted to find the second highest salary from this employee table, and uh, if there is no second highest salary, then the query should return null. This is also important.
Okay.
Okay, so first try and explain me the logic for finding the second highest salary, and then probably you can add on to it as to how would we show null if there is no second highest salary here.
So can I take a few minutes of writing down and then
You can take a couple of minutes, no problem. Yeah.
So there are two ways to this problem. The first way is the a hard coding way.
Okay.
Like I'm querying two inner queries,
Okay.
like one inner query and getting out of it. Like so select what I'm writing is like select max of salary from employee.
Okay.
This is the inner query, and then select max of salary.
Give me a second. I will open a notepad and I'll write it for you.
So sorry, sir, for this trouble.
That's fine. Yeah. So what query are you saying?
Select max of salary
Select max of salary.
from employee.
Yeah. From employee.
This is the inner query, sir.
Okay. Inner query. Okay.
Then outer query is just select max of salary
Max of salary
from employee.
From employee again. Okay.
Where salary not equal to
salary not equals to. So how do you write not equals to?
sir not,
Okay.
and then or like you can give either like this or not in also.
Okay. So I'll do not in.
But sir, not in I won't recommend is that because not in we use in where multiple rows are returned.
Not equals to.
Not equals to this, and from there if we want the ID we can just do one-to-one mapping in a similar way where ID. So this is the second maximum salary.
So this is one way. What is the other way you spoke about?
The other way is that select salary from employee
Select salary from employee.
E1
Employee as E1. Okay.
where
Okay.
one is equal to
1 equals to.
select count of salary
Order salary
from employee E2
from employee E2
where E2 dot salary greater than E1 dot salary.
dot salary greater than E1 dot salary.
So now here what we could do is that if you want third highest, we would change this to 1 to 2. This 1 is actually n minus 1, nth highest if we want.
Yeah.
So this 1 is that. If you want fourth highest, then it becomes 3.
Okay. Which one do you think out of these would be faster to run?
Faster to run.
And why?
What
if I ask this question like this, that which one would be slower to run?
Slower to run, because 2 times maximum we are finding. So we need to get the whole table. If we had a million, then it has to skim through everything. 1 million. So that max of thing which will be much slower.
In this kind of a query is called as what?
This correlated query.
Coded query. So in coded query, this inner query will run how many times?
Inner query will take much more time, because for each time for outer query, this inner query runs. If 1 million rows are there, it would run 1 million times.
Okay.
Instead of here, it runs 2 million times if I'm saying, but here uh, it will take much more time, because for each salary,
Okay.
all the correlators are being running and checking.
Let me ask you one more question. Let me ask you one more question. What if this is a table called as person table, which has two columns, ID and email.
Hmm.
Write a SQL query to find all the duplicate emails in a table,
Hmm.
in
Okay.
this table. Write a SQL query to find all the duplicate emails in this table.
So I'll just take a few minutes. Wait.
Sure.
Okay, so my query would go like, select email from person P1,
Select
email from person
email. Okay. From
from
person
person P1,
P1
where exists,
where exists
uh, select email from person P2,
person P2
where P1 dot email is equal to P2 dot email, and P1 dot ID not equal to P2 dot ID. This, I hope this. Okay, sure. I think it would work.
Okay, so why do you think this will work? Can you walk me through this?
Can we?
Can you walk me through this? Why would this query work?
Sir, in the inner query, sir, what we are telling is that in the inner query, we will take only though if the inner query returns something like P1, that both mail IDs should be same and the IDs must not be same. If the IDs become same, what we are telling is that the same person has the same ID, which is of no use to us.
Okay.
So in the table 1, 2, 3, we are telling that this a@b.com would be selected only if uh, one's email ID and three's email ID are same and their ID are not same. Thus,
Okay.
we are
So
telling that
you're
they are
saying
duplicate.
for each email ID, for each person in the
Hmm.
person table,
Hmm.
you will check if there exists some other person who has the same email ID.
But their ID is not same.
Yeah, IDs is not same. Okay, I understand. Let me show you one more question, and probably we'll call it as a last question of the day today. So it's a little longer a question. Okay, so find the department highest salary.
Hmm.
The employee table. This is the employee table which has four columns: ID, name, salary, and department ID.
Hmm.
The employee table holds all employees. Every employee has an ID, a salary, and there is also a column for the department ID that you can
Hmm.
see. The department table contains two columns: ID, which is the department ID, and the name of the department. Got it? So these are the two tables that we have. Now, what I want you to do is that I want you to write a query, SQL query, to find the employees who have the highest salary in each of the departments. Find the
Highest
employees
salary in each
in
department.
each of the departments. So it should show something like this. For example, in IT, Max has 90,000 a salary, and in IT, Jim also has 90,000 a salary, because two people have the same salary. So it should show both of them. And sales department, Henry has the highest salary. You can see sales, Henry has this. Uh, because there are two people, Henry and Sam, who are there in sales, but Henry has 80,000, so this guy should come. So I want an output like this.
Okay. So I'll just take a couple of minutes.
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the query goes like, select.
Give me a second. Let me write it down for you. Select
Department dot name.
department dot name
comma employee dot name,
comma employee dot name,
comma max of salary,
max of salary,
from department, comma employee,
okay,
where employee dot department ID is equal to department dot department ID.
okay,
Group by group by
group by,
department name, department dot name, comma employee dot name.
okay. So can you walk me through what's going on in this query?
So in this query, we are grouping based on department name, like IT. Like it would skim all the. It would first group. Firstly, it would find the tables from where joining. The flow comes like from. Then it goes to where. Then it does the grouping
Yeah.
according to department name, and then it finds maximum salary, and then whatever columns I have given, it just prints out.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to ask you one last question then, since you are talking about this. In SQL, I'm sure you have also not encountered a median function,
No, sir.
right? So, how do you? What could be the query for finding the median of array of numbers using what kind of SQL query can we find the median?
Should I write it down?
If you can, if you want.
Because I'll tell. I think I could. So first, we need to set a variable. Set at the rate row number is equal
What would
colon
set
is
do?
equal to -1.
What would set do?
So we are. It is a user-defined variable.
Okay, user defined
So
variable.
at the rate. Without at the rate, it won't work.
Okay, at the rate. All right.
So now, what I would do is that select average of, like which column I want. If I want the marks,
Marks. Let's start by marks.
okay, average of marks from bracket open, select at the rate row num, so that variable only, colon is equal to row number plus 1.
So, what is the significance of colon equals to?
So in SQL, I think assignment, whenever we do assignment as a user defined thing, uh, it works as a semicolon and then equal to
No.
assignment,
What
and
is the
not
difference between
equating
assignment
it.
equal?
नहीं तो, sir, if we write only equal to, it checks the equality and not assigns.
Okay. All right. Good point. So yeah. So let's continue with this. Set row at the rate row number assigned to row number plus one. Yeah.
Comma from whichever table, like from student,
Hmm.
order by marks. Now just jump out of the inner query and give the alias name of the table, like as temp table, where row number in
This one?
at the rate row num in floor of
Floor of
marks,
marks,
comma
comma.
so so wait a minute, sir. Floor of marks after the bracket of closing, first bracket close, comma seal of marks. So wait a minute, I need to check it. Haven't I have done a blunder, I think. So
You
this marks would be row num, I think.
think of the approach, okay? Maybe more than the code. I would be okay if you can explain me the approach as well.
So approach, this marks won't be marks. It
Okay.
would be uh, row num.
Row num. Like which row num? Tell me the approach overall. You know, I mean, I'll be okay. You know, I don't need to know exact query. What is it that you're trying to do here?
So whatever I'm trying to do is that firstly I'm ordering the whole table based on the marks in ascending order. Like whatever is the approach for median. First we find the in ascending order, and then if we have an even number, then supposedly now I'm starting my thing from -1. Oh, so it's -1, not +1. So it's -1.
This one?
Yes, sir, -1.
Okay.
So if supposedly I have number of columns as 9, so my last row num would stand as 8, right? Because I've started from -1.
So let's put a number here, okay? Let's put some
Okay, sir.
numbers here. So this is, I put odd numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many have you put here? Total numbers is, total is 5, right?
5. Yes, sir.
I mean, quantity is 5.
Quantity is 5.
Okay.
So my index stands will be
Odd numbers of this thing. So then the will be this guy, right?
yes, sir.
And if it was even, then quantity would have been 6. And then the
Average of them.
average of
45. Okay.
right?
Yes.
This is what we do in median, right? So
Yes.
35.5 would have been. So now explain me what the query that you were trying to write.
Now what I'm doing is I'm arranging, like I've set with the from this -1, and now I'm incrementing based on this firstly marks. So my index would be for 12, it will be 0, 23, 1, 34.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The index.
4. Okay.
Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
0, 1, 2,
3, 4.
Okay.
So now what I did is is that I've taken the average of a so this where in part this I've made a blunder. I can understand it. This
So explain me again. So what are you doing? Again, you were trying to explain an approach. So explain me the approach. I'll be
so
okay.
approach would be the if my column number is in like 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? And floor of 2 is also 2, and seal of 2 is also 2, because it's not a decimal number.
But floor of you.
So what I would do from that, then
it should not be marks then.
row number, no, row number divided by 2.
Row number.
Divided by 2.
Okay.
Seal row number divided by 2.
Okay.
So this both would be in case of, in our first case, this would both would be 2 and 2, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2, and it would take the average of 34 only, because 34's average is 34 only.
Okay.
So I've got my query done for the odd ones. Now for the even ones.
Yeah.
I hope you are getting me, sir.
I understood. Yeah, for the
Now now for the even one, my what I've started from -1. So my total count as my row index would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing a floor of 2.5, I'm getting 2, and floor seal of 2.5 as 3.
So now the index is 5. Yeah. Floor of
2.5.
okay. 2.5 will be 2.
2, and seal of 2.5 would be 3.
Seal of 2.5 will be 3. So 2 comma 3.
2 comma 3. So now what I did is that average of both marks, because two rows will be picked up now, 34 and 45, right? And those average, whatever is that, 39.5 will be my answer.
What is also missing from here is that you should have given marks. Otherwise, how will the marks come in the outer table?
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry, sir.
And this probably should have given as row index or something like that, so that you can use that row index here.
Okay, because outside the table we can't use at the rate. Okay, sir.
Okay, but great. Thanks a lot, Uday. Very good, I think, discussion we had. And do you have any questions for me? I think I'm done with all my questions that I had.
So I just wanted, like, as being a very junior from your perspective, sir, I would like some inputs from you, how I can improve my skills and eventually land up in a better position in analytics.
So, I'll tell you, what you did very well today and what probably could be improvement areas. One, I think I like that approach. First, I mean, ideally, you should have used a laptop so that, we could have had, you could have shown me that thing, but that's fine. I was able to create it and you were pretty quick in pointing out the things. So I like the fact that you were structured in your answer. And I also like the fact that you asked for the time, which is a good thing. Many times, a lot of candidates, what they, basic mistake that they do is that the moment the question is asked, they have to answer it. I mean, you don't have to, you take your time, it should look like you are thinking about it, because if you have not thought through it, then there will definitely be a lot of errors. Third, what I liked about your answers is that you try to give examples with your answers. It's very important that you give examples. I would have loved to see a little more structured examples. For example, when I asked you about Cartesian join, or when I asked you about inner join and so forth, your example should have been a little more structured and a little more business oriented. Remember, employee and department is a good example to take. I mean, not bad. But let's say go beyond it a little bit. Maybe go beyond employee and department. Talk about a little more commercial. Today is the time of e-commerce world. Maybe talk about Amazon, Flipkart example, something like that. So it's a little more commercial. But no question, no problem making any examples like this.
Definitely, sir. Out of the box thing is much appreciable.
Sure. But you should be very clear. You should have thought through those examples. Don't try and take examples which you have not thought through and you're trying to think in the interview. Okay, that becomes a little difficult. So have a few examples in your mind always, for different things that you may expect to be asked in the interview. I also like the fact that you were slow in answering the question, structured. You had, I think, a pen and paper in front of you, which is a very, very important thing to do, right? I think you had a pen and paper, right?
Yes, sir. I had a pen and paper.
It's a very important thing that whenever I asked you the question, you, I think, were patiently hearing it and listening to it, and then you were, I think, noting down the points as well, which also means that, you are being attentive to details, which I like. I mean, I'm a pretty structured person. I like to take notes. I also like to see that in my team members, which is a very important thing, because every day we discuss so many things, right? So it shows that you have an active listening skills as well. So that also I liked. your SQL skills are good. I think what you may want to a little bit read up a little bit more on is how do we improve the performance of the queries. Okay, if
Okay, sir.
I ask you from variety of different angles, yes, you were able to answer the you were able to answer at the right time, but you have to think a little bit, so but some of the performance query questions, because the next thing that any interviewer would be interested or anybody would be interested in is that okay, this guy is good in SQL. Now can I challenge him to ask some little more interesting questions, which may be performance oriented, which is better, which is faster, which is slower, and why, and so on and so forth, right? When you explain a SQL query,
Performance analysis.
yeah, performance
Okay.
tuning, performance analysis, just Google, you'll find a lot of references for that.
Okay, sir.
When you explain when a question is asked, right? If you notice, right, most of my questions are like a business question. So when a business question is
Yes,
asked,
yes.
try to first give a business answer. Try to explain the
Okay.
approach instead of try to explain the code.
Okay, sir.
Okay. See, many times, I mean, I also like to hire only those people who have a very solid business understanding. I mean, I give more preference to somebody who has more business understanding. Not that I would not give preference to somebody who can explain the code. However, even if you're not able to explain the code, because remember, code, especially like the medium question, right? It can become complicated sometimes. But if you're able to explain the approach, right? I would be okay, because I know that, I can give you the code, I can have Google is there, I mean, if you get stuck in small things here and there, at the rate you forgot or not forgot, those are not very important thing to me. But if you're able to explain the approach
Okay, sir.
and go to the code, then it gives me confidence that this guy knows the approach, so he'll be able to do the code.
Okay, sir.
You get the point? So that becomes very, very interesting thing to do. All right. And also I like the fact that at any point of time, you were, even when you have to think, that's fine, you were comfortable about it, which is also very important, that it's fine, if you do not know something, it's fine. And you be comfortable about it, right? Nobody's expected to know everything. So which sounds human, and which is very natural thing to do. So I also like that fact. Okay. Overall, I think it was a good interview. I mean, whatever questions I asked, you were pretty confident about it, and I like talking to you about this. I liked having this conversation. This interview did not feel like an interview. It was more like a conversation that we were having. Okay, and you were pretty clear in pointing out to specific things as well. You were comfortable with the tool that we are using, right? There was no background noise. All these things matter. You were prepared for it, So a lot of times, and especially in modern times that we are living in, especially with all COVID and Corona that's going on, a lot of interviews are going to happen over Zoom, over Skype, or virtual conferences, basically. And this is going to be the next norm, and you have to be as comfortable with these tools as possible. And there was no voice problem. There was nothing of that sort, which shows that you were prepared for it. A lot of times we end up interviewing people and we had to cancel the interview just after like first few minutes because the guy is not prepared, right? So you were prepared. I think you knew what to expect, and you were prepared mentally as well as physically. You had a pen and paper. I think you had a good microphone and earphone, no background noise. Your room is closed, I suppose. So which shows that you were prepared for it, which is also an important thing to do. So I think overall, I really like talking to you. Thank you, Uday. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Just stay safe.
You too.